Good afternoon, and thank you everyone for joining us on our webinar series. My name is Hari Vyapanam, and I will be your MC today. Before we get on to the agenda, I would like to introduce a couple of housekeeping items on GoToMeeting. On your right, you would see a panel, and that panel actually has different options, and you would see a tab for questions. You could ask questions in written form over here, and we will be responding to these questions towards the end. So today we have a very exciting presentation which focuses on the objective of preparing for 2010 REACH compliance deadline. Before we get on to the agenda, I would like to get some background from our participants, and this is going to be by way of polls. I'm launching my first poll, and this is about how have you registered or have you pre-registered substances in 2008 for REACH compliance. And you could click on yes or no on the radio buttons, and I will wait for a few more seconds for you to respond. All right, I am closing the poll now, and let me share the results. All right, as you can see on the screen, at this point, about 67% or two-thirds have said that they have not pre-registered substances, and the rest said yes. Moving on to my next poll, I would like to know how many substances have you registered, pre-registered for 2010 deadline. Again, wait for a few more seconds for you to poll. You could click on the radio buttons on the left, which would help you to exactly poll. And I'm closing this poll right now and share the results with you. Okay, great. As I see, less than 10 is 100%, which is really, really significant out here. And my last poll for today, are you using any REACH-specific software tools for collecting registration information? Please select. Wait for 5 more seconds. Closing the poll now. All right, so it says that 100% of the people are not using any REACH-specific software tools for collecting registration information. Great. So now I move on back to our agenda. And I close the polls. Okay, moving back to our agenda. As part of our agenda, we'll be covering today about REACH, what should be ready and by when, and what are the challenges, and also covering about communications and iUclid. This would be discussed by our panelist, Jim Petros. Jim has been working for a very long time in Dow Chemicals and retired recently. I'll give you a brief introduction about Jim. After completing his MS in Environmental Science and from University of Texas School of Health in Houston in 1975, Jim has had numerous roles as regulatory expert in U.S. environmental regulations over the course of his 32-year career with Union Carbide Corporation and the Dow Chemical Company. Jim has led several chemical trade association activities, including committees on RCRA regulation prior to his retirement in 2007. He was a global leader for product regulatory management for Dow Chemical, with responsibility for all North American and European product regulatory activities. So I take pleasure of introducing Jim Petros.
Thank you, Hari, and welcome to the participants. I'm going to spend a few minutes at the start of this presentation just covering some of the requirements that all of us will have to meet as we register our substances for 2010 or in the subsequent years. This first slide really just summarizes the basic key dates under the REACH regulatory program. Obviously, it entered into force back in 2007. Pre-registration, which some of you have been involved in, was required for substances as of June 1st, 2008 and through December of 2008. And the first really significant milestone for the regulatory program is the first batch of substances that must be fully registered with the European Chemical Agency by the end of November of 2010. And again, that applies to substances that are greater than 1,000 tons a year, either manufactured or imported into the European Union, as well as ecotoxins and those materials that are classified as carcinogens, mutagens, or reproductive hazards. And then there are subsequent registration dates in 2013 and 2018, again based on volumes of 100 or less than 1 ton a year of substances. A key point to remember, though, is in all this that until you have formally completed the registration process, once the deadline is passed, for instance, November 30th of 2010, if you have not registered your substance, then it is not legal for you to import or manufacture that substance unless you meet some of the exemptions under the REACH regulatory program. You may not manufacture, use, or import that substance in the European Union. So it's very important that people understand what are the data and information requirements in order to spend the appropriate resources to meet the deadlines. Next slide, please. What is required by 2010, first of all, is a series of information that are contained in some software that the agency has put forward for use called Euclid 5. And I'm going to summarize briefly some of the information. First of all, a technical dossier is required, which contains basic information about your identity as a legal entity, manufacturer or importer, identifying the substance with the INEX number and other various identifiers for the substance, and also information on the manufacture and use of the substance. Now, depending on what your role is in the whole supply chain for that substance, you may need to get information on the manufacture of it from your suppliers, and you may need to get information or detailed information on the usage of the substance from your customers. So again, there may be a lot of communications throughout your supply chain in terms of just obtaining the information needed for registration. You do have to have information on classification and labeling, guidance on its safe use, much of which certainly should be already in existence for most of the substances that are already traded in the EU. You're also required to have robust study summaries on the intrinsic properties, and I'll talk a little bit more about that, and you'll see some of that kind of information a little bit later, relative to the substances. And again, a lot of this deals with mammalian and environmental fate and toxicology of the substances in question. You also, under the regulations, must have what is basically an independent assessor reviewing the material to make sure that, for instance, the classification and labeling and the toxicology studies and the chemical safety report, if that has been required, are appropriate. And again, the agency has defined what they want in terms of an assessor looking at this information. And finally, the last thing that the technical dossier would contain would be any proposals for further testing. So in some cases, let's suppose that you've collected all the data that there is on a substance and there is no inhalation study that has been done on the material, but one of the exposure scenarios, let's say to your customers or consumers downstream, is inhalation of the substance. You may indeed have to propose some further testing in the form of an inhalation study as part of your registration package. Next slide, please. The other part of the registration process that is a very important part is called the chemical safety report. And this is actually where you are documenting as the legal entity the chemical safety assessment, which is the detailed summary of information about the environmental and human hazards of the substance, and also looking at an assessment by looking at how it's manufactured and how it's used, and doing an assessment of the exposure to people and the environment, and identifying any risks from that assessment. Now, if you identify certain risks, in many cases they may be readily mitigated by currently existing protective measures that are already communicated in the safety data sheet or otherwise well known, whether it's use of respirators or area ventilation, those sorts of things. But again, it'll all have to be documented one more time in this chemical safety report. And the exposure scenarios also have to include particularly relevant from an EU standpoint information about the persistence and bioaccumulation and toxicity of the substances. So for instance, if you have a material that is not, is only moderately toxic, but is highly persistent and bioaccumulates, you may need to provide further risk mitigation actions for that material than you would for a similar toxicity material which is not persistent and readily biodegrades. So again, the chemical safety report will be looking at all of that kind of information. Next slide, please. One of the things that is very significant as you start to understand all of the ramifications of the REACH regulations is that there's a very extensive communication process, and some of you may have already been engaged in this process with your suppliers and with your customers. But we've taken an example here of using 5 different products that you manufacture, that you have 15 different substances that you're using in those products, and you have 3 suppliers for each of those substances, and you have 10 customers. So maybe that's a mode that underestimates or overestimates the kind of workload that some of you may have based on some of the responses to the poll that Hari shared with us at the start of this. But if you just look at the numbers in front of you here, and I'm not going to try to go through them all, basically you can come up very quickly with a large number of email communications, assuming a lot of this is done electronically by email. And all of a sudden you can have, just for this one scenario, in the neighborhood of 500 emails going back and forth, and that includes your request for information, responses back, probably some clarifications of some of the information you got. Some of it may be repetitive, and it all has to be organized. But the bottom line is it's a tremendous amount of effort to get the information and then sort through it and coordinate it and collect it in a cohesive fashion. Next slide, please. So, when you've got this kind of a huge communications commitment, it's very easy to see that, if you have more than the number of substances or the number of products or the number of customers that we used in our scenario, you can quickly start multiplying the workload, and obviously all of these emails require people time and resources within your own organizations to manage all this information, make sure you get all the right information attached to the right substance, and then much of that information does have to be properly stored and compiled, because a lot of it will show up, particularly uses and manufacturing process information, etc., will show up in the actual technical dossier. So an automated tool to handle all of this information beyond just a very simple email system is something that many of you may want to consider. And a little later on, Srikanth is going to demonstrate an IT tool that YASH has developed, which basically does much of this work for you. Once you provide some input into the tool will send out the emails, it'll track the mails, send the reminders automatically, and identify and compile when things are received into the system. And then you'll also be able to very simply do gap analyses or generate various reports and store information and be able to quickly retrieve information from the system, all of which can be done in any system, but the system you'll see that Srikanth will demonstrate has some particularly nice features to greatly simplify the amount of human resources that many of the companies, particularly small and medium enterprises, will need to use in order to achieve compliance with REACH. Now, on the last slide, I'm going to talk about one of the tools I mentioned earlier from the chemical agency is Euclid 5. Euclid has been around for a while. This is the 5th version of it, and it's primarily been modified by the European Chemical Agency within the past couple of years, so that it basically is the primary vehicle for entering, storing, and sharing all of the various information about substances that are going to be registered under REACH. It has a number of parts of it that are used directly for the assessment reports, for, let's say, the mammalian toxicity assessment or the exposure scenarios, that sort of thing. It has a number of standard templates in it, so you'd be able to identify, for instance, which are the key studies and which are the robust study summaries versus just the overall short study summaries. It has links into it that easily allow you to share documents within your company, or if you might be members of a CEF or a consortium in a trade association, be able to properly share information among other parties, as well as obviously the chemical agency. And basically, Euclid 5 is the critical document which, if properly completed, should enable you to meet your business needs and comply with REACH in a cost-effective fashion. But the challenge is how to do that cost-effectively, and that's what we'll talk about in the second part of this discussion. Over on the left-hand side of this slide, we've just identified for you the various areas of information requirements for a Euclid dossier. And, you know, the things that are in red are mandatory for all substances. The portions that are marked in green, for instance, 6.4 through 6.6 on the biological effects and biotransformation, et cetera, are optional depending on the substance you've got and some of the data that you may have in that substance. Maybe there is no known effect of biological monitoring and biotransformation, in which case you may just say that in the document. But again, you can see there's a lot of information here. A lot of it has to be reviewed by qualified professionals, be they in the ecotox area or in the mammalian toxicology area. And there's also places to talk about analytical methods for analyzing the substance, literature searches that you've done as part of the dossier for looking for information, et cetera. So I'm going to stop here, but basically you can see that there's a wealth of information that Euclid dossier requires in order for you to meet the REACH requirements. And at this point, Hari, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thanks, Jim. That really was a good presentation on what we should be doing to and what challenges we would be having in order to reach the 2010 deadline. Now let's find out how we can meet these challenges by different options that we can provide. Srikanth Mukdevi would be covering more details about the global delivery model for REACH and challenges. Also, he would be covering about the dossier creation process and a brief demo on the inREACH product, which Jim had earlier alluded to. So let me give you a brief introduction about Srikanth. Srikanth holds a bachelor's degree in chemical engineering and a master's degree in petroleum engineering. He is SAP certified and REACH certified consultant. He has 10 years of experience, of which he has a significant amount of time on EH&S consulting, particularly for chemical and petroleum sector. Srikanth has worked on several World Bank projects for privatization of petroleum sector and environmental assessment in Africa. He also worked on ambient air quality management study for Dubai Emirates and risk assessment studies for chemical and freight cargo terminals, to name a few. So I now invite Srikanth Devi to discuss the next steps on the global delivery model and also give us a demo on inREACH. Srikanth?
Thanks, Hari. Thanks a lot. And before I could start the business part of the presentation, I would like to thank Jim for providing significant information on the importance of the technical dossier, chemical safety report, and the importance of communication with respect to REACH compliance. How important is the communication while talking to all the players in the supply chain, and as well as explaining in detail about the various sessions of iCloud. So now we understood what all activities are to be performed with respect to REACH, like filling the technical dossiers, communicating, and having the dossier, iCloud dossier submitted to the European Chemical Agency. So what I did here is I have listed out the various activities that are to be performed after the pre-registration towards meeting the 2010 deadline, or 2013 or 18. More or less, the activities would be same, but for the 2010 deadline, we have a very short timeline. Most of the industries might have already started working, and in case you are yet to start, then you have a very short timeline of 11 months. So after the pre-registration, the immediate activity that the legal entity should take is identifying various business partners, like how many business partners are supplying the raw materials to the independent legal entity, like various raw materials that are supplied and what are they supplying actually. Similarly, the legal entity needs to identify the various products that are produced in-house and to whom it is sold, who are the customers, those are buying the finished products. So that completes the task of identifying various business partners with whom the communication should happen. On communicating with them, with various business partners, you will understand the various responsibilities that are in store for you, and you will identify the role you need to take with respect to registering a particular substance. Maybe the partners, like the customers, will help you in providing their usages and the documents, various documents that are available with them. But ultimately, one of the players in the supply chain should take the responsibility of registering the product. Then there is a need to collect the various substance usages from various customers, identifying the usages for which they are using the products for. Then add up your own usages, then pass it on to the suppliers so that they can take care of the usages while registering the substance. After the communication, then the real challenge for data starts. You need to identify the data that is required for all these substances to fill up the iCloud dossier, as Jim has shown us before. On identifying the data that is available, you would understand how much data is available, how much is missing with you. You need to come out with a gap analysis report to understand what you need to procure from the market or from the CEF, or test the data by taking permission from the European Chemical Agency. So participation in CEF is a very important aspect while reaching towards the 2010 deadline. So in case you have some additional data which is not available with other CEF participants, then there is a chance that you can make some money by selling the data in CEF, or you can barter the data with the various other participants of CEF. So after having most of the information, then there is the time for preparing the technical documents, that is the iCloud dossier, then the CSR report. Ideally, to meet the 2010 deadline, that is November 30th, if the industry should be ready with the technical dossier by sometime in June 2010. That is the ideal timeline, because if you submit the dossier in June, then ECHA will review it, and in case they have any queries or if they have any additional inputs they want you to fill in, they would ask you to do so. So it's better to have the technical dossier by June 2010, so that you are through with the registration process. So having said that, the dossier is submitted to European Chemical Agency, and paying the prescribed fees is not the complete process. There is still a lot of documentation that needs to be prepared, like having the exposure scenarios for all these usages of these substances, preparing the safe operational condition documents, and preparing the safety data sheets and circulating them across the supply chain. So these are some of the activities that are to be performed by each legal entity for each and every substance. So as you see that there is a tremendous work that is to be done by each legal entity, and in case a company has several legal entities, they can distribute and if the same substance is manufactured from various different legal entities, then they can assign a legal entity responsible to do so. Even then, it's a very big workload on the industry, and there is a need that this work needs to be shared to meet the immediate deadline of 2010. So what all works that can be shared with a third-party contractor, or and what are the various activities that needs to be done collaboratively. So out of the listed activities, I could say that the communication part, which is vital, has to be performed by the individual legal entity. This can be done using any IT solution so that they can do the campaigns and get the results from these various supply chain partners in a short span of time. Then there is a need for the legal entity to assign and identify the roles and responsibilities, then set the goals towards working them. And one of the important aspect of REACH is volume tracking. As you all know that REACH is a volume-based regulation, so there are 3 volume deadlines, like 2010 is for all the substances greater than 1,000 tons, and 2013 for 100 to 1,000 tons, and the final deadline of 2018 for all substances above 1 ton to 100 tons. So there is a need to track the volumes, and for 2010 there is no much pressure because of the volume, because in case the companies are registering for 2010, then all substances greater than 1,000 tons would come in. But for the 2013 and 18, they need to carefully see that their volumes are within the prescribed deadline. So there is tremendous pressure that would be mounted on the legal entities in terms of taking business decisions and the project management. So how do they handle all the activities? They can take the help of a third-party contractor in helping them with the tasks like identifying the REACH or MSJ's contacts within the supply chain. They can do a mass email campaign across all the supply chain partners, or talk to them and identify the right contacts so that the communication can happen seamlessly. Similarly, the third-party contractor can help you in identifying the usages by talking to all the customers and sum up the usages so that you can get ready to register the usages for the customers. And similarly, they can help you in identifying the data that is available with you and come out with a gap analysis report so that the legal entity can understand what data is available and what is missing so that they can actively participate in SEEF. The third-party contractor can actively work in preparing the accurate dossier for you, provided the data is available, and if in case some of the data is available in SEEF, you can buy and give it to them. They can prepare the dossier for you. And in case only the study reports are available, then the toxicology team of third-party vendor can prepare the robust summaries also for you, so that could help in identifying the right data from the right documents in preparing the dossiers. So having said the tasks that can be shared across, there are certain activities that needs to be collaboratively done by the legal entity as well as the vendor, like preparing the data for the REACH registration process. Similarly, quality assurance of the dossier, like reviewing the data sets that are available, reviewing the data against the endpoints. Similarly, CSR preparation for the dossier, along with the dossier to be submitted. And one of the important documents that needs to be circulated across is the MSJ's document. So using a third-party application or within the ERP system of the legal entity, the vendor can, the collaborative effort can bring out the MSJ's documents and extended SJ's documents to be circulated across. So how does this work, and how can a third-party vendor can come into a picture, and how can he work from any offshore place? So here is what we have done. We have suggested the global delivery model to one of our existing customer, and we made it successful for them, and we got very good results from this. So we suggested this for one of our existing customers. It's a $5 billion company with 5,000 employees spread across the world. And we are existing vendors for them, and when we were talking to them about REACH, they came out with a lot of pain areas on various activities. Those are in store for them for the 2010 deadline. And after a long set of discussions and a lot of activities, we came out with 3 sets of offerings for them. Here is what they are. First one is the IT services. We are already providing ERP-based support for them for their SAP systems. And some of the activities what we have done for them are the master data cleansing so that the system is ready for REACH preparedness. Having said that, we worked together with them on their MSDS document preparation as well as the ESDS preparation. And one of the important tasks which was never experienced or which was never tried by anyone is the toxicology data migration from iCloud documents into their IT system. This was important to understand, to make all the people working from various geological locations to understand what data is already available, what is in store, and that would help the toxicologists in participating in SEAL to identify the missing information. After the IT services, we started working for them on their data management. We collaboratively worked with them in identifying their information that is available with them. Then we started working on the gap analysis report. The outcome of that was very much useful in participating in SEAF so that the information can be bought and sold across there. Then with the information that is available, we started working on their iCloud dossiers and ordered the dossiers for them and along with their CSR reports. And on demand, we have even worked with them on preparation of the robust summaries. Apart from these two areas, we helped them even on the couple of the back office activities because of the short-term activities, and they could not perform with their in-house resources. So we validated their supplier and customer database to identify whether all the supply chain partners' contacts are available. And in case the REACH specific contacts are not available, our team spoke to all the suppliers and customers in identifying the right REACH contacts with whom the supply chain communication would happen. Apart from that, we even helped them in identifying their customer usages by talking to all their customers. And one of the activities that was done on the request was contacting all the suppliers, getting their MSDS documents, transferring the vital information from the MSDS documents into their ERP system. So we have suggested this model, and this successfully helped them in very good cost savings, very good turnaround time, and using the right talent from various parts of the world. So let me showcase you one such activity to show how the global delivery model would work and how collaboratively we got the very good results in doing the iCloud support for them. As you all know, there are a lot of activities that are due to be performed in the iCloud dossier preparation, starting with identifying the documents, converting them, then doing the research for the public data to the completed dossier preparation process. Let me show you in the pictorial way. So this is how the collaborative working process has proved to be successful and got very good results. So our customer has identified their REACH-specific substances due to be registered in 2010 deadline. After that, the specific substance-specific data collection has started at their end, and most of the information that was lying in the hard copies form, because these tests were done sometime in late 70s and 80s. So after scanning all the documents, they have sent it across to us using our secured FTP server. On receipt of all the data like documents like risk assessment reports, ESS data sets, then robust summaries, test data reports, our team has reviewed all the documents, and in case we had any queries, we would have contacted the customer. Otherwise, the team has started looking for the previous versions of the documents of the dossiers that are available and convert them from 4.0 version to the 5.0 and look for the public available data from various sources like ESS datasets or HSDB or EPS specific for the information. After that, the team would start extracting the data for the specific information against the endpoints and scrubbing for some information that is like conversion of units or rephrasing the information. Once the information is available and the data extraction is available, then the team would start reviewing it internally and and the data extraction and the gap analysis report that is prepared is sent across to the customer for review. After the set of review and comments from the customer, in case of any comments that would be incorporated. Otherwise, the filling of the iCloud data into the endpoints would start, and after the document is ready, the iCloud dossier in 5.1 version, it would be sent across to the QA/QC team for review. The QA/QC team was primarily consisting of the toxicologists from the customer end as well as our YASH team. After the thorough quality check, in case of any queries, it would be sent across for reworking. Otherwise, the dossier and CSR are pulled out of the system from the iCloud system and sent across to the customer for submission to the European Chemical Agency. So you can see that there are a lot of activities that are to be performed in coming out with the final document of iCloud, and these can be successfully done with a very short term of time and with huge cost savings to the customer by working on their own servers using the VPN connectivity. Now, having said about the importance of iCloud and how the dossier can be done from offshore offices, now I would like to take to the next topic, that is IT solution. As Jim has highlighted the importance of an IT application and how it helps in doing the supply chain communication, coming out of the gap analysis things, I would like to showcase you the features that are appropriate for an IT solution and what you need to meet the 2010 deadline. I would say that appropriate IT solution should contain the provision to do the active campaigns across the supply chain. It should have easy to migrate the master data and kickstart. It should be very user-friendly in terms of the screens, working screens, and the UI, which would help even the end users with minimum knowledge on IT systems who can start working. Apart from that, I would say that it should have automated tools to work towards the error-free communication, because a lot of campaigns need to be performed across the supply chain in identifying the usages, registration intentions, sharing the documents, to name a few. Then there is a need to have a safe and secured and organized document management, because all the documents against each and every endpoint needs to be stored in the safe, secured servers so that they can be easily retrieved as and when required. Then a quick gap analysis and tools which would help you in taking the right decisions and participating in SEEF, and ultimately to come out with the iCloud dossier for participation into the global trade. Then, if possible, the application should have high-end dashboards for reporting so that the business decisions can be taken across in the short span of time. So, I would say that this would be the ideal features that needs to be available in an IT application to work towards the 2010 deadline. So, I can say that there are many applications available in the market, but are they giving you all the features required, and can they provide you all the features within a short span of time so that you can start working on them? Well, I can say many are available and they might give, but I would like to show one such application, that is inREACH. inREACH is the YASH own application which we have developed on SaaS model, and this has all the set of offerings that are required for compliance, starting with step 0 until the registration process. What we have done is, after thoroughly understanding the REACH regulation and having worked with chemical industries from long, we understood their pain areas and the business needs of them. Then we came out with a simplified approach. We call it a 9-step golden approach, which is called REACH Wizard. We came out with 9-step approach, which would help the customers in going towards the right direction in working towards the compliance. And I would say that this application has a holistic approach because as you might have reviewed and observed, that many applications are standalone systems with very limited functionality and features. But this application helps you in all the required communication tools, report management systems, then document management systems, SIF communication, consortium management, you name anything that is required for compliance and that is available in this application. So undoubtedly, I could say that this is the best application that is available in terms of the functionality as well as the cost-effective solution, because this is based on the subscription model. So now I would like to showcase a short demo on this application. Okay, this is the web-based application which I was referring to, and you could see that with single logon, you can access all the applications that are required for REACH compliance. So here is the home page where you could see that you can get latest updates about what is happening across the world with regards to REACH. And in this dashboard, you can get updated information on how many suppliers are available who are supplying the raw materials to you and how many customers you are supplying to. And this contains the inbuilt email engine, which would give you a quick flash view of how many emails have come on a daily, so that you can directly go into the inbox and check them. On the right-hand side, you could see that there is a graph here which would give you an highlight on how many products are, how many substances are to be registered, and how they are distributed across the 3 deadlines. In the search bar below, you could select any products by typing in the cash number, INEX number, or the name. On the left-hand bar here, we have the latest press releases from REACH, which will keep you with updated information as to what ECHA has provisioned for you and what announcements they are to make. So now what it takes to start working on this application? Well, as all other applications, we need master data to work on this. What all master data is required? Well, this product is product this application is made on product as the main criteria. So we need basic information about all the raw materials that you're procuring and the final products you are producing and selling across. So let us take a product that is magnesium chloride here as an example. So what basic information is required is the minimum information like cash number, INEX number, then the REACH relevance, pre-registration number, the tonnage when you want to register it, so that automatically you will get the registration deadline, and from how many legal entities are you manufacturing this particular product. And it would contain the details of the raw materials that you are procuring from the suppliers. You could see that the magnesium and chloride are used to come out with magnesium chloride, and we need to give information regarding magnesium, which is more or less same as the product, and this would help in coming out with the updated information on the product as well as the substance. Then one more information that would require is the information about your suppliers. Who is the supplier, what are his contact details, and one of the important requirements here is the email ID, because this is used for communicating using the supply chain module. So we would suggest you to come out with a single contact, the primary contact who will be the single contact for you, as well as the escalation contact in case you need to contact in case there is no response from the primary contact. More or less same information from the customer end also. So once we have this basic information, then you can start working on this application. This is the REACH wizard I was referring to earlier, where it starts with step 0, that is REACH pre-registration. Once you are done with the pre-registration, then you can start working on this application using this 9-step approach. So as I was referring to the linked business partners, here is how it works. Like after having most of the data, master data that is required, you can go here, add the business partners, and that would help you in showing how many business partners are available for magnesium chloride. So magnesium chloride is the raw materials for them are procured from 2 different suppliers, and the product magnesium chloride is sold to another set of customers. So once we have a clear understanding on the various business partners, those who are supplying and to whom we are selling the products, that would help in communicating within the supply chain to talk to them in identifying the various intentions. So here is the inbox where you could see the various emails that are coming in. You can sort it by substance or by the supplier. Then here is the compose screen where you would spend most of the time because you need to do a lot of campaigns in terms of identifying the usages, intentions, and various other requirements. So how does this work? You don't have to type in any information. Just select it from the radio buttons and the drop-downs. So I would like to send out a mail with respect to a product. So I go here, I'll select the product, magnesium chloride, and here are the customers. I'll select the customers here. Here it is. Now I'm left with filling the email body with the standard I would like to do. So I don't have to do that. I just need to select the template for which I would like to communicate the various usages or the requirements. So I select template here, and here it goes. Most of the information is readily available. So you need to just prepare the template and keep it ready so that the communication happens seamlessly. And even the subject is auto-populated so that you can keep track on the emails that would come from the particular customer. In case you want to add and send to more customers, you can add it by clicking on the address book. And we have provision to attach the files and send it across. So here is where I was referring to as creating the templates. It's very easy. You can just start creating a template and add the content so that that becomes easy for you to communicate further. The next step would be identifying the roles and responsibilities. So after communicating within the supply chain and after identifying the various roles and responsibilities, you would understand where you stand with respect to the registration intentions or the responsibilities that are in store for you. After that, you would look into the SEEF, participate in the SEEF to understand what is available with various SEEF participants who are registering the same substance. So here is how it works. After registering, adding all the substances that would automatically show here, and I can select any substance to see whether that SEEF file is loaded. And here we see that for ethylene there are around 4,069 SEEF participants across the world. So how does this data come in? This comes from the XML file of the REACH from REACH IT website after pre-registering the particular substance. So let me show you how it works. Here I go, I select a substance, magnesium chloride, and I just need to select the XML file. So I would have downloaded the SEEF XML file from the REACH IT system and kept it ready to be uploaded here. So here it goes, it's a simple thing. Now I have uploaded the magnesium chloride XML file. It says that there are around 865 contacts. Let me check. So here it is. There are 865 contacts of SEEF for magnesium chloride from across the world. Now, how do I start communicating with them? I have the contacts. So let me show you a simple way here. So you can just select a couple of them from your area, maybe from Europe or North America, with whom you want to communicate. Select them and say add to my SEEF list. So we have given a provision here to add to SEEF list or as well as the consortium. We can form a consortium and start working towards the deadline. So just select a couple of them and say send email. So you are into the compose screen, you can just select the template from the drop-down and start communicating with them. So after communicating within the SEEF and after identifying the information that is available, then the important task is to identify and store various documents in the repository. So here is how it works. You can see here, these are the various substance folders that are automatically created after adding the substances. So here I go, I can see that there are various documents available against the substances. And how do I upload the documents? It's very simple. You can just select the file from the desktop and start uploading them. or even you can attach, you can add the files that have come in as an attachment in the email. Then how the gap analysis works, after identifying the information against the endpoints, just select the substance for which you want to see the gap analysis report. So here you see that the substance-specific information as the name, INEX, CAS numbers, and various information is available. And what we have done is, depending on the deadline and depending on the included endpoints, it would be listed across here. And you need to just select the right document and link it to the endpoint from your repository. Let us link one such data against the endpoint. So this is how it goes. So we have provision here to add the references here, and maybe the remarks for review. Just a submit. And this document would be attached against the endpoint, and you are ready with the information. And in case you have any extra endpoint, you can add one more row. And once you are done with this information for this endpoint, you can just say completed and update the information. So once it turns green, it says that you are ready with the information for these selected endpoints, and these can be pulled across in a report form. The next step that would help you in identifying various documents that are available would be the report management system, which would help you in taking the right decisions at the right time. And on having all the communication done and having all the documents ready, then you would obviously proceed towards the data extraction and the included dossier preparation part. So this application directly will not help you in preparing the included dossier, because included dossiers have to be prepared in the systems that are provided by ECHA. So this would give you a brief idea on how it can be done, and in case you need any further help, you can contact us by filling up the form. So after submitting the document to the European Chemical Agency, that is not the end of it. There is a need for communicating further within the supply chain to keep you updated with the information across the supply chain, as well as keeping the European Chemical Agency with the updates on the latest information you have in terms of the change in the composition or the volume ranges. So this is how this IT application would work and help you in working towards the successful REACH compliance. So having shown you the very short demo on this application, I would like to showcase the various business benefits that you would gain with working on inREACH. So as I have shown, this is a web-based application based on the SaaS model. It's software as a service. So that would make you free of the implementation maintenance or the operational costs. You don't have to invest on any of these activities. And this would help you in easy and free error communication, as you have seen, and I have shown you the quick gap analysis, safe storage, and one of the important points is the single sign-on. With a single sign-on, you could work on various applications that are available in this application. So I would say that this is a comprehensive tool loaded with lots of functionality. So with this, I end my part and hand it over to Hari for a summary. Hari. Hari? Hari? Okay, I will take the slide.
Hari here, and thank you for that wonderful presentation. We have learned today that from Jim that we require to have technical dossier and chemical safety report, which is needed for REACH 2010 deadline. And we also learned that the logistics of seed communication, and Srikanth subsequently presented a wonderful demo on the REACH software that we have. We have a few questions that have come up from our participants, and let me ask the first question for Jim. What if I have a substance which does not meet the 2010 volume level for my company but does for several other manufacturers or importers? Should I be doing anything? Jim? Hello, Jim?
Okay, Hari, let me take this question. This is Srikanth. Okay. In case the substance is not meeting the 2010 deadline and other manufacturers and suppliers are working towards that, then you don't have to worry about that. In case you are a big organization with lots of data that is available with you, it is advisable for you to participate in SEEF and actively work towards with other participants so that you can sell some data with them. And this will give you access to a lot of data and information that is available and for the cost sharing as well. And considering the proportionate data sharing income, this would be economical in the long run. Otherwise, you can just wait for your deadline that is maybe 2013 or 18, depending upon your volumes.
Hari, this is Jim. Sorry, my mute button was stuck and I couldn't get it off. So. But Srikanth's got the right answer.
All right, great. Okay, my next question is for Sri, and this is about how much time and resources does it take to prepare a dossier that is for also the chemical safety report, and can you help in robust summary preparation as well? Srikanth?
Yeah. That was a very good question, and I would say that preparation of the dossier and chemical safety report is the assessment of the time is purely based on the data that is available in terms of the documents of the toxicology, physico-chem, ecotox, and other documents. But as a ballpark figure, I would say that it would take something like 4 to 6 weeks of time in case the documents are already in place, and it would take around 4 to 6 weeks in coming out with the documents. And coming to the second part of the question, that is about the robust summaries. Yes, we can help you in robust summary preparation in case you have the test data reports that are in the available.
Great, thanks, Srikanth. So before we wind up today's call, just wanted to call your attention towards the screen where you could reach us for more questions on reach@yash.com. And you would also have this recording available within next week or so on our website, yash.com/reach, and you could reach us there. So I thank all of you for joining us on this webinar, and look forward to hearing from you soon. Thank you once again, and have a wonderful day. Bye now.